the need to put measures in place to eliminate this act of vote buying.
Thank you.
Otherwise, all of us, some point in time, including Richard Ayagba, could be victims of vote buying. Because there may be times where you don't have money and your opponent has money more than you. He will buy the votes.
Dr. Peter Bono talking about. Thank you.
The new law that would help, because remember that Article 19, Clause 11 of our Constitution says that nothing is a crime unless it's been expressly provided for under the law, blah, 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 punishment, etc. So as we sit now, I'm at a loss as to what law the special prosecutor will use to say that when you bribe in a party primaries, it is corruption, vote buying. Because as I said, the PNDC law 284 is for parliamentary and presidential elections. In actual fact, when we first passed it, when you go to the interpretation column, it's for parliamentary. That was the first, I mean, when you look at it, that was what it initially was for. Then later we amended and added what? Presidential. So that tells you that, you see how we had to amend. And now, as I said, a court case said DCs to when you bribe, fine. But party primaries, you see, and let's not forget, the other lawyers said they weigh in. When it comes to criminal law, you want certainty of the law. We don't like setting traps for people. We don't, in criminal law, you don't set traps. The courts don't lightly create offenses. To create an offense, you go to parliament. Let the parliamentarians create. Then the courts interpret and enforce. Courts don't create criminal offenses lightly. So I have doubts as to what the special prosecutor can really stand on. You see, it's becoming matry makwe. Yes, we tried the Safu Kantanka one, it worked, but we would soon run out of luck. Why don't we pass it? A debate that's gone on for 20 years. So are we saying that all the lawyers who have waited, and I'm sure a lot have died, and other citizens for 20 years, we didn't know that we could stretch PNDC law 284 to cover party primaries whilst we're making these arguments for at least 20 years? Are we saying that the whole country, all the big lawyers, for the past 20 years, and PNDC law 284 is a PNDC law, so before 1992, it's been there. We used it, for the district assembly elections as part of the decentralization reforms, etc., right? So are we saying that no lawyer saw that, oh, you can stretch that law to cover party primaries? Is that what we are saying? Over all these decades, no lawyer saw that we could stretch it. So there's a limit to which we can stretch. Why don't we pass a law simply to cater for what we have on our hands, party primaries? That would be better for all of us. We all want to stem the tide. And so, Mr. Okan said, that's how come, I hope it's inherent in your question. That's how come I saw that the NDC lost a very fine opportunity to, seize the moment. When Ayarga and Co. gave that beautiful statement from Parliament that no, they want an annulment. NDC should have annulled the result.
You think they could have done something different?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. This U-turn. Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, you've taken the high moral stand. Ayarga's statement, the majority caucus said they want an annulment. The party, NDC, should have granted them, annul it, ban all of those candidates, bring fresh candidates. In any event, you have an overwhelming majority in parliament. You have 2/3. You have 2/3. So on an occasion where you have 2/3, you are not willing to it's not even sacrifice. Who says if they brought any other candidate, they would have lost? But in any event, if even they were to lose that election, it's insignificant. So the NDC lost a fine opportunity to really stamp that authority. I was like, hey, is that the beginning of the decline? Yeah, is that the beginning of the decline? Because how? You guys, you have such a huge majority in parliament. So if you were even to gamble by disqualifying these people and bringing somebody who is not known and you were to lose, it's nothing. It will pale into insignificance because just losing one seat, it's nothing. But Ghana would have remembered you for leading the charges to reform the law. That's what matters, because you made nonsense of the president's incessant calls to reset. This is his legacy mandate. This is President Mohammed's legacy mandate. You got this fine opportunity, the easiest time to do such a thing, and then you blew it. So Baba Jamal will work in parliament for the 3 years with a cloud over his head. He would never regain that stature. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. That seat is a tainted seat. Yeah, it's a tainted seat. If he wins it, it's tainted. It's tainted. No, Ghana is changed. You see, I keep saying, 1.7 million votes. It's not NDC votes. It's us, the floating voters, plus NPP people who joined. So our country has now integrated. Really, I mean, at least we can see it. We've moved beyond the rhetorics to action. Well, a lot of NPP people, Ahiagbe's people were upset. They joined and voted for you. Floating voters voted for you. Seize the moment. One seat when you have such an overwhelming majority. So I was like, politicians never disappoint. They never disappoint.
Well, the explanation from the General Secretary, which is captured the committee, no, it's no explanation.
It's no explanation.
Yes, they acknowledge that there was wrongdoing, but then again, there had to be...
You were explain tire.
No, this one...
You were explain tire.
It makes sense, and you yourself will see that it makes legal sense also.
It's not every time that
and as a lawyer, you would appreciate... And as a lawyer, you would appreciate that. You would appreciate that, and you would also appreciate the social and political sense. No,
Wait.
There are bad laws. There are bad laws. It's not every law on the statute book that is good. Today, I'm sure I'm at this table because of efforts that I made. I saw bad laws, took them to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court saw and said that, yes, this is a bad law. We'll strike it down. This is a bad law. We'll strike it down. That's how come I'm here. So it tells you that it's not every law you see on the law books that is good. No, that's how come you hear us say natural law. So we measure the laws on our statute books with moral principles. So you see that I say, yes, this is a positive law passed by Parliament, but it fails to match up to the natural law principles. So it's a bad law. Let's strike it down. Let's strike it down. So we use a lot of moral concepts.
All common aspiration.
Yes, exactly. It's all part of that's what we call morality. So when people say law is different from morality, I laugh. Maybe if you want to say biblical, which is also even false, biblical morality and political morality shape law. You would find it difficult to totally divorce law from biblical morality and political morality. These two are always shaping law, and even philosophy. When we say all the authoritarian party, where did law learn it from? Lawyers learned it from their philosophers, etc. Law itself is a nascent science, okay, very nascent, learning a lot from the other far more developed sciences, etc. So what I'm saying is that it's not every law you see that you must obey. So I heard Fifi Kwete say that the EC had given a deadline. Oh, no.
There's a matter of the time limitation as well.
Yeah, it's no reason. When you want to do the right thing, that is no reason. You would have appealed to the EC. And you know, if they had said that they had annulled the elections, Ghanaians would have joined in appealing to the EC to do something. Oh, but how was it written in stone?
The EC is enjoined by law to conduct the by-election 30 days after the announcement of the death of the person.
Yes.
And it's by law. And you and I have been advocates of some of these things. And that's why when they did the injustice to SAF, we were all against it.
You actually have your time to collectively respond to all of these.
Yes,
it's important.
I'm just appealing to his conscience.
You respond. Other than that,
so the EC could have done something. I'm telling you, the EC could have done something about it if you had shown the political will. You weren't interested. That's why I said Baba Jamal, if he wins that thing, he will always be tainted. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. If you had annulled it, and then the Ghanaians would have said, look, for once, yes, we've seen 30 days in the Constitution. This is an exceptional circumstance. An exceptional circumstance. So when you see such a thing, of course, then you have reported the matter to the EC, brought in, if social engineering, when you want to do something, where there is a will, there is a way. Okay. Where there is a will, there is a way. But in this case, there was no will. They just went back to politics as usual and then took it.
Well, these are some of the recommendations of this committee, and I'm going to come to you on this before, Dr. Tokono. And this is it, that they are of the view that indeed the integrity of the process could be best protected. So, Martin Kpebu, they acknowledge that nullifying the results could have best protected the integrity of the process. But then again, they go on to say in the fourth point that they recognize, however, that this recommendation carries significant legal and practical implications, including the fact that the NDC's constitution, one, does not contain provisions for the annulment of the elections. And then the Ayawaso East primaries were supervised and the results certified by the Electoral Commission. And as a result, all of these limitations, the deadline given for the party March 3 by-election is imminent, which was actually the next day as well. This problem is one that you see play out, that's the vote buying or vote selling inducement in both parties, that's the MPP and the NDC. The special prosecutor was called in to investigate Lawyer Martin Kpebu, if you recall, this 2023 presidential primary of the MPP and then the Kumewu by-election. They put out pictures of people. But then we saw what happened in the NDC last week. Could the committee have seized the opportunity to do anything different to serve as a pathway for you as well, MPP? Quickly.
Alfred, I think that we should have discussed more of the cocoa matter because this matter, there's agreement around the table. I mean, I'm just making a point. I'm not going there. I'm just saying that there's agreement around the table. There's no disagreement. The only disagreement is to the extent that the NDC failed, to capture this opportune moment to deal with the matter. But I want to explore what Lawyer Kpebu said earlier about the representation of people's law being specific for parliamentary election, and so therefore maybe taking up this Baba Jamal case out, to court may not find standing because the law is not expressly for internal party matters. But now you just made a point which is important to say that in excusing for why they can't take action, the NDC said the election was supervised by the EC. That's a committee's recommendation that there probably might be some legal issues emanating from that. And so then does that not make it a public election almost? You understand? Because one, the election is leading to making a parliamentarian. And that 284 actually is about parliamentary elections. And so can we not find access there in court to deal with this matter? I think just so maybe you can look at that. But the NDC actually blinked on the matter, and in doing so have lost the opportunity for all of us to engage this matter expressly. All across along the table here, people will agree with you. I think that it dilutes our democracy. The impact of these, money and gift giving to influence people. And the law was express. It says that anybody who does that commits an act of bribery. And so if that is a crime, then we should find a way to fight it. I want lawyers to tell us why we cannot find standing in court with that action consistent with 284. So I think that the NDC really has, they have to bow their heads in shame. I know this is just wrong. They themselves, a committee they put together, has found something to be untoward. But somehow the party is arguing that, because of the shortness of time to file with EC, and so therefore we're going to go ahead. We in Ayawaso East, we had an acclamation, we selected a candidate, we didn't do a primaries. So if they wanted, they can actually annul that election. In fact, there are members in parliament that have given them a pathway to doing that, annul it, and then you can do an acclamation. Even that day, you find a candidate, to come up. Because in the interest of advancing democracy, this is something that we need to deal with expressly. In the MPP, in the NDC. So it's not really a question of NDC problem per se. It's a problem that confronts our democracy, and the opportunity was presented. The country saw it. And so therefore, there was no way to hide it. And that moment, we need to rise to the occasion to deal with this matter expressly. And the NDC lost the opportunity. And that will be a blot on their history. And I think I agree with Martin Kpebu to say that if our brother Baba Jamal, a good friend and a very distinguished individual, but yet his opportunity to go to parliament has become a serious bone of contention. Nobody likes that. What happened? We don't like it because it weakens our democracy. It takes away the sanctity of the vote to the highest bidder. How can we have a democracy like that? Who is Baba Jamal going to serve in parliament? His interest or the interest of the people he procured? So that's a challenge, and I think that they let the country down.
Okay. Dr. Tukono. The lot falls on you.
So,
in all the issues that have been raised.
Alfred, I have been totally gobsmacked by the presentation of Anyagba. And the reason why I'm gobsmacked, if you look at us politicians and our elections and what has gone on in our elections, the MPP just left their presidential primaries just before we went into the parliamentary primaries at Ayawaso East.
And I'm sorry, now you're wearing the hat of your Deputy General Secretary.
Is that?
You're wearing the hat, your
of my
hat.
former Deputy General Secretary. I'm a former Deputy General Secretary, but I'm the Director of in the party relations. I'm a party executive, actually. Now, I'm totally shocked because for anybody in the MPP to make the claim that we blinked on this matter and we have lost an opportunity to make a statement, smacks of what you may want to describe as stratospheric levels of hypocrisy, if you want, because they just finished their elections in the presidential primaries, and TV3, you had videos interviewing delegates who were saying that, oh, they have collected Kennedy, and all those things. They were displaying them all over the place. So there you were sleeping or you were blinking. What were you doing? You have canceled the presidential primaries? Or it doesn't apply to your presidential primaries. In this country, we have seen parliamentary primaries where Uber cars have been distributed under the MPP. Motorbikes distributed. Aboboya distributed. And we have seen the videos, we have seen images on them. I think Central Region also, that was where they distributed the Uber cars. No, please, oh, don't start. Okay. Don't start. Okay. You see, if you want equity, you come with clear hands. And you are telling us that we are blinked on an opportunity. But you have slept on an opportunity. Numerous opportunities, plenty of them. And you slept on them. So you lack the moral authority, the moral temerity to even complain about this matter and make statements like we are blinked, we missed an opportunity, blah, blah, blah. Having said that, Alfred, we all know that the issue of vote buying is a problem of democracy, and Kofi couldn't have put it any better. When you have democracy, you have vote buying. It is only in an authoritarian system where you have a traditional or royal leadership where you don't have vote buying. Even that one, people lobby and get families to support them. But in a democracy, irrespective of the structure of the democracy, you have vote buying. So far as there would be a need for people to put their minds together to make a decision on somebody, there will be some form of vote buying. And so let's look at our system. So we have the delegate system. I have my own issues with the delegate system. Mm-hmm. And I believe that we can do better. And that is why in 2015, when I was part of the executives of the NDC, we decided to change the route to eliminate, in fact, you can't eliminate, but reduce the vote buying in our internal elections. So we said that, look, let's do universal adult suffrage so that in the election of our parliamentary candidates and presidential candidates, every single member should vote. We did a registration. We registered over 2 million to 2.5 million people who participated in our 2015 primaries. Now, we realized that there were some inefficiencies in the system. So subsequently, we had to change that. But even in doing that, we still expanded our delegate system. And now about 380,000 people are voting in our elections. The MPP have about a little, later they learned from us. They expanded and they are doing over 200. But we are doing 380,000. So we as a party, by principle, by philosophy, by our standing, we shrine against this idea of vote buying. And we have put measures in place, developed the party in a manner that we are able to reduce the vote buying. But this is just one instance that came out. And I am very proud of our party. I'm very proud of our president. Immediately the news broke out. The first action, the president didn't even sleep for hours. He recalled the person in question. That
was going to be an
eventual outcome. You call this blinking. No, please. Okay, hold on. You call this blinking on the matter when the president has acted on the spot. That is not blinking for me. You will not get this under Akufo-Addo. Can you get this under Akufo? We saw President Akufo-Addo in this country. Will you get this under President Akufo-Addo? Even in the glaring face of criminal offenses, he was clearing people. How did he get the name the clearing agent? He was clearing everything, including instances like this, which were obvious. There are CEOs who were paying people. You had a sitting controller and accountant general go contest election, pay people openly, and still come back and take his job. What was Akufo-Addo doing? Sleeping or blinking? And so let's not go there. There is an issue at hand, and we have constraints, and we have to take the decisions based on the constraints available. And so the party said, quickly, immediately the issue happened. Just even before the president will relieve the person, we issued a statement and set up a 3-member committee. The premise was still in session. They had not ended when we issued the statement. You call this blinking? We acted on the spot. Never in the history of this country have we had any political party that has acted with such speed in a matter that involves the political party or in a matter that involves vote buying. It has never happened. Never in this country. So we set out the committee before the primaries ended. The committee did their work. We were supposed to file nominations with the EC on Wednesday. The primaries was held on Saturday. The committee had Sunday and Monday to do their work. The committee submitted their report on Monday. Listen to this carefully.
Tuesday, I think.
Yes, no, Monday. They submitted their report on Monday. So Sunday and Monday, they had the days to work. They submitted their report on Tuesday, and we had to make a decision on that report. The filing was Wednesday. We have found them culpable. There were some allegations of, paying people and all that. We would come into whether those things constitute vote buying and all those things. But the committee said they are guilty of giving some incentives to the voters. So the party should punish them. In fact, the entire party agreed that we should even annul the results. The majority issued a statement. All of them signed. All the regional caucus leaders signed that we should annul the results. We got the report on Tuesday. Filing is on Wednesday. Tell me, if politically, morally, legally, we would be able to annul that results on Tuesday and be able to conduct another primaries or acclamation to be able to meet the filing deadline of Wednesday. Yes. Filing was Tuesday. Yes. Oh, but you see, we are legally constrained, one, because you can't open nominations, print ballot papers, conduct primaries in our party, please, in our party. That's why we are National Democratic Congress. Our party is a democratic party. We do not choose leaders for our people. We allow, please. We allow our party to choose the leaders. You must give the party the opportunity and the people the opportunity to elect their choice. You cannot elect the choice for them. Even in cases where we have done acclamation, what happens is that it is only one person that files. But you don't have the time to open nomination, go by your constitution, open nominations, people file, you do elections, print ballot papers, bring them together and vote and do the elections before you go and file on Wednesday. Do you know what goes into filing nomination? Do you know what goes into filing nomination? By law, Electoral Commission requires you to fill a form, get endorsement from all the polling stations and all the electoral areas before your form is valid. So you are telling me that I should go and organize primaries on Wednesday, open nominations on Wednesday, pick the nominations, organize primaries, print ballot papers, do the election, go run and collect signatures, and go and file by 5 p.m. on Wednesday. Who would do that? But you just ask yourself, does it even make sense? And so we are legally constrained. And remember that the Electoral Commission, upon the announcement of the death of the Member of Parliament, you have 30 days to organize the elections. Never in the history of this country has this been varied. And if the Electoral Commission want to vary it, they would have to go to court for court to grant them the permission to vary it. So you are saying that on Tuesday evening, we should take the decision that we have annulled our primaries so that we go and beg the Electoral Commission, that go and call your lawyers and use state money to pay them, so that they go to court and go and plead with the court, that the court will vary that provision that they have 30 days to do the election and change the dates for their elections program. You can't do that.
No, but why did the
committee I sympathize with lawyer Martin Kpebu. I sympathize with this position. And obviously, this would have been the ideal position that the NDC would have loved to play. Because from the actions that we have shown, we've shown goodwill. President took the decision immediately to withdraw him. Party within the primaries issued a statement. We formed the committee. We have shown goodwill. And never in this country has that been done. Obviously, you should grant us that modicum.
That Saturday night, you could have finished the committee work.
No, Martin.
Saturday,
Martin,
you could have finished.
Grant us that
24-hour sitting.
Grant us that modicum of please. Grant us that modicum of wisdom, of even respect. That at least the NDC has shown some goodwill, some small goodwill, that we are willing to act on this matter, and that if we were not constrained by the law, we wouldn't have taken. And look, we didn't take a decision politically motivated. We took a decision because, well, we considered one, the moral grounding of that decision, the legal restrictions or constraints of that decision, and even the political constraints. And so we had to take a very difficult decision.
Thank you.
And owing to that, we didn't leave it there. We said, look, the others that were implicated in the report, some of them are government appointees. So we have requested that action is taken on all of them. Beyond that, we have extended the committee that we set up to look into how to prevent future occurrences. And that is the kind of commitment we want from political leaders. And this is something you could never dream of under MPP or in MPP. You understand? And so let's not get answer your question.